Hi everyone, Simon Keeling here, and it's Tuesday the 3rd of April. Thanks again for watching. Apologies for there not being any updates over the last couple of days. It's been very busy here, so my apologies for that, and it looks as if the weather was going to continue in the pattern that we'd been forecasting anyway. So anyway, we're back to full speed now. Thanks again for watching. As always, this site's kept free of charge by you. And basically by you coming and visiting, spreading the word about the site, that's what keeps it free of charge, because it's the adverts around the site that generate the revenue for us. So if you see an advert you like, click on it, go through to it, that generates revenue for us, and it shows the advertisers that use us that you're interested in what we're doing as well. Okay, so here's how things look on the 7 to 10 day mean of the 500 millibar flow. So this is about 18,000 feet up in the atmosphere, and we've got the ECMWF model here on the left, we've got the GFS on the right, and this is for the period running from next Tuesday through to Friday the 13th of April. And you see that we've got some similarities between the two. Look, we've got this ridge out towards the eastern coast of the States, the red colour there meaning that the heights are above normal, and you can see it there on the GFS too, and then a trough coming down through the British Isles. So both the ECMWF and the GFS agree that that's going to be the pattern that we're in. The ECMWF does bring the jet stream further south though, hinting at colder weather across the British Isles and unsettled weather too across the UK, with the jet going across northern parts of France, whereas the GFS tends to keep it further north, has it across Northern Ireland and northern parts of England. But either one, and that would bring a more unsettled pattern to the northern 2/3 of the country, whereas the south would stay dry with the GFS, but the ECMWF would keep us all in the more unsettled conditions. Now at the moment, out of the two, I'll probably lean more in towards the ECMWF, because there'll be a compensatory trough coming in as this ridge builds off the eastern coast of the States, which both models have on. Particularly, you can see here with the trough over the States, that squeezes in to that southern part of the ridge, builds the ridge further north, and accentuates the trough across the western parts of Europe. So I think really I'm going to go with the ECMWF ideas just at the moment. Now then, the latest CFS is quite interesting. You can get this from the web page. If you go to weather charts, so it's the page that you're on at the moment, and if you click on the CFS page, you'll have the CFS forecasts in front of you. Now if you scroll down a little bit, left hand side here, you've got a choice as to which forecast to view. So I'm going to click on the city forecast, because it just gives us a good overview as to conditions. Now a word of warning as usual about the CFS forecast. It's a long range model going months in advance. It's run every day. You have to be very careful using it and use it each day to give you guidance as to how conditions are likely to be turning out. But it gives us a good indication as to what the weather is likely to be. And this is the temperature chart for Manchester, and you can see the dates here across the bottom, but it gives you a good overview as to how temperatures may progress. Now the red is maximum temperatures, the blue is minimum temperatures. These are in 6-hour periods. So what to look for here are just where the red line goes, and you can see here's this cold snap that we're in at the moment. The CFS did very well in picking this up. What it does do though is it increases temperatures look next week, brings us into milder conditions. This is in agreement with the CFS and the ECMWF, so it looks as if this is going to happen next week. Conditions become milder before we go into cooler weather again the week after next. But you can see here how after a brief rise again towards the end of the month, we're going into a cool April. Now this is a new development for the CFS, the idea of it going into the cool beginning to May, and something we need to watch, because we've always said that spring looked as if it was going to be pretty cool and could be a bit of a shock after the warm weather we've had last week, and the CFS look is now trying to confirm that that's the case. Now rainfall, you can click on yourself, have a look here under European rainfall, and it gives you rainfall maps going ahead in weeks, up to 6 months in advance in fact, but it gives us a good idea. This is the week ending 16th of April, and it's putting most of the rainfall look towards the west and to the south of the country. Now as we're getting towards the end of the month, so we're getting into the 23rd, dry conditions across the north, rain look coming across Europe. This is this idea that the ECMWF had of the jet stream being further south. Look, the CFS goes for it as well, taking the more unsettled conditions across the northern parts of Europe, perhaps southern parts of England, leaving more northern and central parts of the UK drier, as well as Ireland, although I do think there'd be some heavy showers there. The week 4 rainfall forecast looks like this. there's a change in that it builds high pressure back in across northern Europe and builds the jet stream up towards the north and the west, bringing the rain into these areas. There's low pressure in the eastern Mediterranean, but it's a change as the area of high pressure builds in. And then as we get in towards the first part of May, look, that high collapses away, the jet stream breaks back through, and much of northern Europe comes underneath the rain again, with the south being generally dry. Now, to me, this is quite an acceptable pattern. This may well be the way that things actually turn out in the end over the coming weeks. But let's get back to the present, and let's just take a look at the GFS ensemble for the coming days. Give you a quick rundown as to how things look. The time for this is in the top of the screen. Here's low pressure that's over us just at the moment, high pressure out towards the west. These charts go in 12-hour steps. So there's Wednesday, look, a sharp northeasterly wind. This is going to be cold with outbreaks of rain across England and Wales. Dry through Scotland though through Wednesday. A sharp frost overnight into Thursday, and then during Thursday itself and into Friday, it looks as if we're into a cold flow with sunny spells, but there will be some outbreaks of rain tracking south, possibly through the course of Friday. Now into the weekend, we dry through Saturday and Sunday across most of the country. Some outbreaks of rain north and west, but you see that high pressure trying to build in down towards the south into next week. But there's that more westerly flow coming in next week. Look, more unsettled conditions with outbreaks of rain for many. Again, it's the north and the west seeing most of that. But look, the wind flow always towards the north or the northwest. So a cool start to the week, but there are hints of a change mid to late on in the week, and we stay with that cooler weather look right the way through into the middle part of the month. Now, I do think the ensemble probably hasn't got this quite right, because I think we will go into milder conditions early on next week before the cooler weather arrives again during the back end of the week. But you can see generally the ensemble trying to keep us in those more unsettled conditions during April and keeping us on the cool side, and that's where I think things are probably going to be heading. So thanks again for watching. I hope that's been useful for you, and don't forget to keep the sun shining. Bye for now.